Hey, so I really wanted to tackle the Invincible Season 3. Now keep in mind I've only seen up to episode 3, but I think this is a perfect example of a show that has its creators maturing over the course of its seasons. It's very evident in season 1 that even though a lot of people liked it, including me, there was a lot of things that irked people. And instead of doubling down on these, the creator listened to the feedback and made corrections. And in season 2, I think they improved a lot on the storytelling. For example, the dealing with the aftermath of Omni-Man's betrayal. Like that, I think, is a really well done part of the story. Or the heartfelt story of the boyfriend of Mark's best friend dealing with being not human, and subsequently Cecil's second in command dealing with that as well. Now, the whole break in seasons, that hurts a lot of people because they were really enjoying the story, but I think that just comes down to, in my personal opinion, just start splitting the episodes into 24s so you can have 16, 12, whatever amount of episodes instead of doing basically HBO shows per episode. I think that would help in your production so you wouldn't have to change production too much while looking like you're constantly working. But that's just me. Now, I am familiar with the story up to a point in season 2 because I've read the comics when I was a kid, and I agree with a lot of the changes they made. They've done a good job overall. In season 3, with everything that's been built upon it, it really shows they have improved because of one particular aspect: Cecil versus Mark. The two different viewpoints is presented in such a better way than in season 1 with, I don't know, a certain character that people really did not like. I want to talk about specifically the setup they've done. In the show, we are presented that Mark is spending time with Cecil, training to get stronger to fight against the Viltrumites that are going to be coming very soon. So he's preparing as much as he can, and he's already on a shaky trust with Cecil and with the events of the last season. If you've not seen it, spoilers, he kills somebody accidentally. It really puts Mark in a different kind of mindset. And Cecil is a lot more on edge, not just because of the Viltrumites, but also controlling Mark because of his previous handlings of Nolan, or mishandlings rather. But in the show, we see the first interactions of the opposing ideologies really early, where Mark is going to help save the Declaration of Independence with the help of Rexplosion. However, in the moment, Rex was there for a tune-up of his arm because he, for some reason, can't lift up the middle finger. Points to that Cecil, he can't, and so it's such a strange little detail. It's just for comedy, you would think. But then you see when they go after the Declaration of Independence, he seemingly easily can do the middle finger. However, not at Cecil. I don't think they had time to fix up his arm before he went out. So that's a little hint of what Cecil's ideology is. And Mark's ideology in the same moment when he goes to fight Dupapal or whatever his name is, he tries his best to hold back and try to get to Rexplosion as he's getting beaten to death, but he can't. And he tries as much as he could. Eventually he's like, screw it, and starts the clones. And again, they're clones. They are clones. But he's still just murdering them willy-nilly, trying to get to Rexplosion. And in his head, he is justifying these actions as necessary because he's saving his friend. And they're not real people anyway. So why would he really care? But he did try. He did try to hold back as much as possible. But Cecil, on the other hand, you notice in the coming episodes, he does not have a problem with using force at any level, using what he has, using who he has, regardless of their past. And he was taught these things because he was considered to be a stupid, naive rookie when he was an agent for the secret organization. He made stupid mistakes, like very stupid mistakes. The sequence what we see is why didn't you just call him back up immediately? We see when he's punished for his actions, being okay with using villains. He was sent to jail and he had to do what he could to control the jail. In his mantra, which is, we can either be the good guys or we can save the world, which ironically enough, that's what he's trying to do. Every turn he's trying to do that, but no one understands his intention. That's why no one could trust him. He does things that will negatively impact how people view him, how people trust him, because that's a big part of the story. And I love the juxtaposition between the two characters. Mark is not trustworthy because he has the powers of a Viltrumite. He is a walking nuclear weapon, or even more powerful than a nuclear weapon, almost uncontrollable. But we know as the audience, he would never do anything necessarily to kill somebody. That wasn't an accident, all that kind of thing. But we see from the storytelling that he will do something necessary to save his friend. But we know his character. We know who he is. But from the outside perspective, because of his powers, that's a moot point. Then, on Cecil's side, we know he's a normal human person. We know he controls all these things and all these things. But we know he's a normal human person, so people can give him the benefit of the doubt. But everything he does, if he was a Viltrumite, you would see he's the enemy of man. He is controlling people. He is lying to people. He is literally mind controlling and brainwashing and using mutilated corpse. Yes, now donated corpses, but made by a psychopath and using a serial killer in the form of a Batman clone to fight for humanity. But at any point, he could decide otherwise, but people don't know that. That's the point. That's kind of what's happening in this story. You don't know people's intention. Don't know what people are going through and what their mind is. You just know the effect they have on people. So Mark, he is trying his best to be the morally right person, and even with all these struggles that is happening, he's trying to be the morally right person in a world where murder is just willy-nilly. But push comes to shove, he murders. Cecil is saying the world is just willy-nilly. There is no better thing, so I should use the tools that are here. Whether that be a normal person, whether that be a psychopath who would happily murder and mutilate and have done that to people. Literally mind control them to do so. In many other people's eyes, if he was not fighting for the Earth, he would be a villain. And because, ultimately, this shows how the stories evolved, how the creators evolved. Because of that, we can see both arguments. Because of all of this, we can see the maturity of the show, as now we both can see both points of views and we don't know who's necessarily right. It's excellent storytelling, and regardless of episode 4, 5, and 6, that to me shows that the production team has gotten so much better. There are no more blaming Mark for things just out of his control. Now we can see and be on the side of whoever, because it is understandable and presented as such. Much like the silent opening with the two guys robbing the bank, we see their lives. We see their perspective. At the beginning, we see their villainy. At the end, we see their tragedy. I think Invincible, if they stick the landing, season 3 will be one of the best mature superhero stories out there. I'm the Omni Den. Like, subscribe, and check back for more.